Cruisers aren't really my thing. My go-to bikes are nakeds, roadsters, and that suit. But I've had the Super Meteor 650 for a while now. Now, Royal Enfield sells the same engine on the Continental, which weighs around 214 kilos, and the Interceptor, which weighs around 218 kilos. But this weighs north of 240 kilos. But what does that extra weight bring into the table? And also, was it necessary to have some heft in the flagship motorcycle? You're watching Park Plus. Subscribe to the channel to stay updated to all the content that we do. As for the matter, let's get cracking. The Royal Enfield Super Meteor 650 is 2260 mm long, 890 mm wide, 1155 mm tall, and has a wheelbase of 1500 mm. It wears a 19-inch 100-section tire up front and a 150-section 16-inch tire at the rear. The pillion grabs on the rear double up as grab points for the rider to move the vehicle when on foot. They could have added some soft plastic on it. Your fingers might get jaded after long rides. It can be had in 3 variants: Celestial, Interstellar, and Astral. I would recommend the windshield and the backrest with the seat on the top variant retrofitted for a better riding experience overall. Royal Enfield has been making cruisers for a while now, and that knowledge, they have used it to the right amount for this bike as well. Now, looking at the front face, it has a butch and stunning road presence. The compliment for that goes to the round LED DRLs and the headlamp setup, complemented by big fat 43mm USD forks of show up. Now, moving at the middle, we have a 15.7 liters of big sculpted tank right above the 648cc parallel twin engine. Downstairs, beneath that, we have a long exhaust system running across the length of the bike, which looks beautiful. And right here at the rear end, we have a 150-section tire. Now again, this gives a proper chunky boy stance to this beautiful looking cruiser. Apart from that, I am 5 feet 7 inches tall, and this is how I look on the bike. Now again, my feet are well planted on the ground. It inspires confidence in the rider. When it comes to the instrument cluster, it's a retro-inspired instrument cluster. It's a twin-pod system. You turn it on, you have an analog speedometer. There is no tachometer here, and there's a tripper pod which shows navigation. It's inbuilt. It actually works fine. Some niggles here and there, but nothing to complain about. The fuel tank has some panel gaps, but it's all right. They could have done a better job with that. Now, one thing that I have the most problem with this bike is the placement of the pass button. Now, for this, if I'm riding, I have to leave the handlebar. My thumb comes over it, and then I have to engage it. Now, that's not intuitive. It's counterintuitive. It's supposed to be on the trigger finger. If this is not the case, I don't think it's placed well. I think this should be changed. Apart from that, you have nice, big, chunky levers, and they are adjustable as well. I think that is what summing up of what the bike has to offer. It has a tall and big handlebar which comes to you, and it is wide in the grip. It gives you a commanding stance, it gives you confidence, it gives you better leverage over the bike. And now that comprises what the bike has to offer in terms of looks and features. I would have liked a rev counter when the navigation is not used, because it shows me time, and that's time on both pods at the same time. Let's talk about the performance of the engine. This one houses a parallel twin 648cc engine that makes 46 bhp at 7,250 rpm and 52.3 Nm of peak torque at 1,650 rpm. Now the acceleration is very linear, it doesn't startle you, and there's a lot of grunt at the bottom, a strong mid-range, and enough meat at the top also to keep you revving. Now there's a flat torque curve, which means that you have enough power just at the whim of your throttle. You just need to flick your throttle once and you will have enough power to overtake any vehicles at any gear for that matter. Now it is very tractable as well. You can do 40 kilometers per hour at the 6th gear without any knocking or any lag from the engine. Now that's actually refinement. And when it comes to refinement, the engine and the exhaust, the sound from both of it is a very refined engine. It is very calm. The sweet spot of the engine is 80 kilometers per hour. It can do that without breaking a sweat. It can do 100 kilometers as well. There are some vibrations
that seep into the handlebars and the foot pegs when you push the bike to its limits, but that's also not very pronounced, it's negligible for that matter.
There is a USB charging port available on the bike located in the side panel, but it seems a little inconvenient to use.
Let's talk about the ride quality and other dynamics of the bike. To start with, at 241 kilos, one might think that this bike could be a handful when it comes to handling, which is not the case. Even at slow speeds, the bike is a gentle handler and it does a great job of flicking around the corner. It's nimble to handle, even weaving through traffic. It does not make you work for your turns. When it comes to suspension, the front suspension is actually quite forgiving. It has 43 mm upside down, big chunky forks from Showa. And the rear, on the other hand, we have twin shocks again, which has 101 mm of travel. The front suspension has 120 mm of travel. The rear is much more stiff as compared to the front, and you will feel it. It won't be a bone-jarring ride, but the ride quality is as good as the quality of the roads. When it comes to braking, we have dual channel ABS, 2 discs, a 320 mm disc up front and a 300 mm disc at the rear. Both brakes have nice bite to it, and it is progressive as well, so it won't startle you when you are braking, or even under sudden braking, it maintains its stability. When it comes to clutch action, it's on the stiffer side of things. You might not feel it bothersome when it comes to long hauls, but when it comes to traffic jams, it might start hurting your forearm. When it comes to the rider triangle of the bike, your feet and your arms are further apart from the body and you sit in a very relaxed position. Now this means that it reduces fatigue on your body and you can munch miles very easily on this bike. It's a cinch for it. The low slung engine helps with the center of gravity. The long wheelbase and the relaxed brake angle helps with the stability. At high speeds, the bike is very stable, and that same stability is carried over on the corners as well. Now, even at triple digit speeds, the vibrations are very few. If I'm to nitpick, it's very negligible, so it won't be bothersome. Apart from that, the ground clearance is 135 mm, and I have tried big to small speed breakers and it is yet to scrap its belly. The base model starts at 3.54 lakhs and the top model will set you back by 3.84 lakhs ex-showroom, and for that price you get a proper parallel twin engine which is refined and does point A to point B without any problems, at ease, and grabbing a lot of attention as well. Now the bike is something to gawk at, I won't deny that. Apart from a few grimes that I have with it, I think if I want a proper fat cruiser, the Royal Enfield Super Meteor 650 will be on the top of my list. That's all for today. I'll see you on the next one. Ride safe.